Here we are, just hours away from a most historic Pesach, one that we'll speak about for generations to come. It will go down in the books as that Pesach, when the Jews stayed home. And for some people, I know myself included, actually quite looking forward to it, to have the opportunity that we don't normally have, just to spend Pesach with the children, focus on them, interact with the family. But for many people, it's a very daunting Pesach, this Pesach, and it threatens to be quite a lonely Pesach. Some of us will try and cheat the system and find ways to overcome the lockdown, to spend Pesach with our families. Like any other major event in history, there will be those people who go down as just having been part of the flow, part of the experience, allowed it to happen. There'll be those people who will push hard against the experience, and I suppose we'll find afterwards that the body aches a bit, or the mind or the emotions are quite stiff from having pushed so hard. And as always, there'll be those who are the heroes of the experience, who'll take this experience and use it as a catalyst for the most incredible and meaningful and uplifting opportunity, something that does not present itself on a regular basis. However you choose to use your Pesach, the only recommendation I could make is don't rush it. Tonight is an opportunity to really sink your teeth into the Pesach experience, to get out of just reading the words in the book and get into the conversation and reflection on what those words mean and what are the personal lessons that we can apply in our lives tomorrow and going forward into the future. We all acknowledge that our world is going to be a different world after this, and Pesach gives us a great opportunity to reflect on what that's going to mean. How is my life going to be different? What things will I liberate myself from after this Pesach? This Pesach, as every Pesach, we're going to start the Seder with a paragraph that says, "All who are hungry, come and eat." And that sets the whole theme of what Pesach is about, a time to have guests, not only those who are family, but even those who are strangers. I'd like to make a suggestion that when you reach that part of the Seder, it's at the beginning, everybody's still alert and focused and open and willing to do things that might be out of the ordinary. So I'd like to suggest that at that point we say, "Dear God, we would have loved to have had a Seder like every year, with a table full of people, including guests, some of whom we are not necessarily so close with, but we'll have them anyway. You, in your infinite wisdom, have decided that that is not an option this year. So instead of inviting our ordinary guests through the door," and if you want to make this very powerful, you can actually walk to your front door and open the door and make this declaration. So God, if we can't have guests, we would like to invite you into our Seder. But not just that you should be here in some kind of abstract concept where we pat ourselves on the back and say, "I had a Seder where I felt Hashem's presence." We want to invite you to be at our Seder in a way that even our children, that even the cynics among us, can actually feel that presence. And the way that we do that is we say, "Hashem, we have one guest on the guest list who we've been asking to have at the Seder for 2,000 years. This year, please send us as our guest, Mashiach himself. The world is shaking, the world is changing, people are all talking about a better tomorrow. The world is cleansing, the world is resting. All of those are things that relate directly to the concept of a messianic age. Tonight is the anniversary of when 3,332 years ago, Jews sat with absolute faith, locked in their homes, knowing that if they would go outside, God forbid, who knew what could happen. But they had absolute faith that that's where they needed to be, and that was a good place to be. And they had absolute faith that if they did what they needed to do, the following day Hashem would make all of the bitterness of their life experience disappear, and he would open a new chapter that would radically reshape the world. Hashem, as you did then, do for us please now. As you took them then out of Egypt, please take us now out of the world that has so much stress, so much negativity, so much anti-Semitism, so much conflict, so much family breakdown, so much personal pain, so much loneliness, so much domestic abuse, so many health problems. You've promised us from the get-go that you have a better world in store for us. We use the word Moshiach and it sounds very abstract, but right now we're all feeling like we need and we will soon, please God, have a far better world. We'll open our door. Please send us the guest that we have always waited for. May this year be the year that instead of saying next year in Jerusalem, we have the opportunity to say this year in Jerusalem. I want to wish you a meaningful Pesach, an uplifting Seder, a joyous and liberating experience. And through all of it, stay safe and stay sane. With Yom Tov.